So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be discussing a popular plus size Instagram model, basically speaking out against the modeling industry and how she is treated. Now, I know what you all are thinking. Damn, Chioma, are you ever going to shut up about this? And the answer is no. Because no. If you don't want to watch, just click off. However, I think there are so many ways to spin this idea of body image, and I spin it like a dreidel every time. It's just very interesting to me because I used to be so consumed with what I looked like as a teenager, and now that I'm older and I realize society and things for what they are, I like being a voice of reason. You can call it an obsession. I probably am obsessed, so that's not offensive to call me. However, I do work in the modeling industry myself, and I am bombarded with the idea of body image, how you look, fitness, makeup, surgical enhancements, the whole 9 yards on a daily basis. Outside of YouTube, I am the director of the Queen Team Models modeling agency in Ohio. We also service Southern Michigan. That is pretty much my main side job, if you will. If you all would love to support the modeling agency, you can follow us on Instagram here. I'll post our page, and you can also follow us on Facebook. Recently, it was either on YouTube or on Instagram that somebody asked me if my agency accepts plus size models, and I wasn't taken aback in an offensive way. I just was kind of confused as to why somebody would ask me that, knowing that I really have very minimal physical requirements for my models. This situation actually reminded me of an Instagram model who basically went on a rant about how the modeling industry treats plus size models. And then I had to give myself a reality check and look at my roster. I don't have any plus size models on my team. So there's an Instagram boutique based in Detroit, Michigan called Swankaposh, and they're really well known. I live near Detroit, so I have been seeing their page for a while, and they're mostly known for their stretchy jeans that fit a wide range of sizes. They're also known for being diverse in their advertising and showcasing their clothing on different size women. I like their products. I would love for my modeling agency to actually work with them. Their advertising is one of those things that really sticks out when you go to their social media or their website. Back in May of this year, one of their prominent plus size models named Juicii basically took to her TikTok to share her experience as a plus size model. I found it very interesting because I do think that she has a very precise and pure concern in her dialogue. She basically describes her placement in an industry that is very different than how it used to be, being that it's driven by the social media constructs of beauty. Growing up, I looked up to models like Naomi Campbell, Tyra Banks, Iman, and more. They were all pretty traditional in a sense where they were very tall and very thin, just like I was. That's why I always took an interest in modeling, because everybody wants the freakishly tall girl to play basketball or volleyball, but I always wanted to do something more girly, so the only other thing that tall girls can do is model. So my modeling agency now kind of reflects me and what I look like, and I do think a lot of vanity and beauty-related businesses or companies are a reflection of what society has deemed acceptable these days, aka the BBL Instagram model. Juicii spoke a lot of truth, and I think her voice is necessary to give a first-hand review of what it means to be plus size in today's modeling industry as well as in today's world.
Okay, so lately I've been kind of questioning if I'm gonna continue doing this influencer stuff, if I really want to keep it going, if I really want to still do the plus size stuff with Swankaposh, because me personally, I am not 100% happy with the direction that it's going in. Now, don't get me wrong, I with it, but at the same time, I'm not getting the feedback that I would want, that I think I should be getting at this point. And what's really bothering me is that no matter how hard I push the envelope, I'm really not even looking for, verification from a certain person or people, but I just feel like no matter what, the girls that have their bodies done and all the stuff like that, that don't really have anything, are always going to overshadow me being a natural female. 90% of the people that, I work with as far as Swankaposh, they have plastic surgery. There are only 3 girls that haven't had surgery, which is me, Terica, and Brittany. Brit, the other plus size model. And I don't have nothing against it, but it's just kind of hard to compete. If I were a, insecure female, I would feel like that's what I have to do to fit in and to get bookings, for people to notice me and people to appreciate me. Like, my city does not appreciate a naturally thick girl. You have to be surgically thick. Like, you have to have a BBL or lipo or something. Like, they glorify it, but no one wants to appreciate a person that loves themselves. And if I offend anybody, that's just you. I really don't give a fuck anymore. But I'm honestly questioning if I should continue on this route, or should I just delete my social media, continue to do my podcast, and just stick to doing makeup and lashes and do my podcast. I feel like that's what brings me the most joy at this point, because I love, being the voice of, the plus size girl, but damn, like, when is going to be my time? When am I going to get the gratification that I deserve? Like, being an influencer is cool, but no one wants to book me because I refuse to look like everybody else in the city. So it's like, if y'all don't fuck with me, why am I still doing it? Fixing my tape ends, curling my hair because today's my best friend's birthday, but this is very encouraging. I really appreciate that. You got me over here about to cry, but thank you.
I think she kind of summarized a lot of what people say and think already about body image in 2022. However, I think she spoke about it from a very authentic place that is very underrepresented. Even within my own modeling agency, we've had a few plus size girls come through. However, I will admit that I do choose based on what is relevant and correlates to my look, as well as what works for current society. And I'm not saying that plus size does not work. However, after listening to Juicii speak, I'm now realizing that there truly is a major deficit in that level of representation. And I don't think that plus size Black women, especially with her being dark skinned, should feel inadequate in her journey to their career just because society tells you that you're not as beautiful or socially acceptable as what they want. I wanted to touch base on this because honestly, I've never talked about the experiences for plus size women, and especially plus size Black women, on my channel, and because this correlates directly to what I do on a daily basis. So I just have one overall main talking point. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So to start off, I will admit and say that modeling is a very superficial world. Models are traditionally very tall and very thin, and when I initially started modeling as a high schooler, it was for that reason. Like I stated in my monologue, I was always tall and skinny, and like super tall too. If you've seen me in person, you know I am a walking skyscraper. So in addition to being built like a black licorice Twizzler and a blue raspberry pixie stick, finding beauty within myself growing up was very, very difficult. So back then, everybody wanted to be thin, so I met that requirement, but being a tall woman was and is still kind of taboo, especially being thin. I will say shout out to Meg Thee Stallion for being the spokesperson or poster child, or just the motivation behind a lot of tall women being seen and deemed as attractive these days. I single-handedly think Megan made tall girls get more positive recognition because we're used to being equated to being men-like or other negative things, especially being Black. However, it seems like every guy wants a stallion now, okay? Everybody wants the girl with long legs. Being super duper short and fun size is not as desired anymore, which is weird. It's just crazy how these social constructs about physical appearance change so quickly. But within my experience, I'm literally on the opposite end of the spectrum of somebody like Juicii, who is a plus size model and isn't surgically thick like she mentioned in her video. Historically, I think we all can admit that plus size women have always gotten the short end of the stick. And even today, I still think that being plus size is a little taboo. However, let's shout out Lizzo, who has been another poster child or spokesperson or just a catalyst behind the confidence of being a big woman in modern times. So the representation from public figures is allowing for many of us regular people to break through in the eyes of society, and then specifically in the eyes of industries that deal with physical appearance. Still notable to point out that there's still some backlash because we all haven't converted into that level of acceptance. For Juicii, I can say that her plight is probably something that a lot of plus size women deal with because she touched on so many different struggles as I was reading through her comments and seeing what other people had to say. It's almost like people think there's a fake love for big women, or even as far as it being a fetish. And it's sad because honestly, yes, you can take control of being a certain size, but when you get marketed as a certain look, you can't really deviate away from that. We saw this when Adele lost weight, when Monique lost weight, and so forth. So it sucks that she has now categorized herself as a plus size model and is feeling unmotivated or underappreciated because there's this surplus of girls who have a certain body shape that isn't even God-given. The statistic that she stated that she works with so many girls, but out of all of the models that they have under Swankaposh, her and 2 other people are the only girls who aren't surgically enhanced, speaks volumes. Now, I'm not sure how many girls model officially with Swankaposh, but I did find this clip of 9 girls, and Juicii is in the middle as the token plus size model. And let's just call it what it is, because although yes, I will commend the brand for showing their products on a multitude of women, I still feel that having 1 or 2 models that are natural, and that natural is being plus size, is a little bit counterproductive. You can't have 10 models, 2 of them be natural, and they're naturally big or a shape that is technically not socially acceptable. That means there's still a need for other models who are natural but are naturally thin or naturally average or naturally top heavy or whatever. And I don't tell anybody how to run their business, so I'm not saying they're wrong, because at the end of the day, I don't have any plus size models myself, so they're doing better than me. However, I do think that it is something to point out that most of the models are surgically enhanced, being that one of their marketing tools is showcasing their clothes on different size women. No one in my modeling agency has a BBL, and my girls kind of look like your everyday girls you see on campus, in the hood, at the mall, in the salon, and so forth. Part of my marketing is trying to be realistic and give glamour to all types of beauty within women of color, and showing that the everyday girl can be glamorous. But the modeling industry is very superficial, and to be a plus size model comes with an array of extra pressure or extra attention that can be good and bad. I guess the good attention is that you're representing a demographic of women that authentically exist, and showcasing that plus size women do not deserve to be left out of the fashion world. When Fashion Nova came out with Fashion Nova Curve a few years back, which is their section for plus size women, it was met with a pretty decent reception from the public because it was very necessary and still is. But then you have the bad attention, which is the microaggressive comments and actions of brands and customers who feel as though it's unattractive or doesn't deserve recognition. So I am glad that we're in a world that is starting to recognize the diversity of women and their shapes. However, we are still battling that pushback of the BBL epidemic. Let's just be real. So it's like being natural and being yourself is playing offense, but being surgically enhanced and being pressured to conform is playing defense. At this point, there's really no winner. It's like tug of war on the 50-yard line, just going back and forth. I also think that the sizing standards in the modeling industry are super skewed. So technically, a plus size model is someone who is a size 12 and up, but in the modeling world, a plus size model is anything bigger than a size 6. So I would be considered a plus size model, being that I'm a size 6 to 8, when at first look, you wouldn't consider me a big girl. Maybe in height, but not in size or body shape. Like, I still wear a size small in certain things, even though that second puberty is hitting me hard right now. So the business component is allowing for that confusion to continue and for the normalization of the surgically enhanced look to prevail. Part of me feels as though the only reason why girls want to conform is because they really cannot handle their insecurity and are choosing this idea to be at peace or find comfort in being regular. And these days, the BBL or Coke body shape is considered regular, or what should be regular, even though we all know it shouldn't be that way. Like Juicii said, she has nothing against girls being surgically enhanced, and I feel the same. Part of me still feels as though girls who go that route can't fathom being regular, even though they're making a regular ass decision to look like everybody else at this point. BBLs can help your modeling career depending on what genre of modeling you're doing. People do not realize that modeling is not just your high fashion New York Fashion Week runway. You can do a multitude of things and be considered a model. Because social media like Instagram and TikTok is the new top genre of modeling, that's why a lot of girls are getting this surgery. But if we rewind 25 years ago, the top genre of modeling was the high fashion girls like Naomi and Kate Moss and Janice Dickinson and Tyra Banks and people like that. So with the time change and the social shift, unfortunately, plus size models have not gotten to the top of that food chain where people are striving to look like a plus size model. And honestly, I don't think it will ever happen, at least not in America, because although America has the highest levels of obesity and people who are just bigger, we still shun the idea of that big size being glamorized and accepted as beautiful or attractive. It's completely backwards, like literally ass backwards. The last thing I want to touch on is clients and companies being restrictive or inclusive about body shape and size. So here's how I see it. In modeling, the client is going to be the person who chooses what they want. So it's very subjective to what the client likes, desires, or sees for his or her brand. So as bad as it sounds, a client can be very picky or very distinctive about the look that they want in their model. And traditionally, most clients are going to choose girls who look like the classic or conventional model. Now, I will say it is a little bit warped, being that the BBL era is now and it's very widespread. So that also plays a factor, which is what Juicii referenced. So to me, the distinction of having plus size models even be a term is actually a positive, because it's technically a separate category because of the way how the modeling and fashion industry works. The reason why models are supposed to be thinner is because designers want to use the least amount of fabric on a model to save cost. And the reason why models are supposed to be tall is so that designers can showcase their design as big as possible level or on a large campus. So for example, just like in the sport of basketball, you want taller players so that they can be able to reach the basket easier. So for me, when you create a space for plus size women to thrive and shine, it does allow for the beauty of being plus size to be appreciated and seen in an authentic light. In Juicie's case, it's a bit interesting because she's not just a lone ranger at her current place of work. She's up against other girls who, even if they weren't surgically enhanced, they wouldn't be as big as she is. And that inclusion is good because it showcases the range, but also bad because of the insecurity and comparison that may be plastered on the models who aren't seen as socially ideal. So I believe it's a double-edged sword, and the only thing that can allow a plus-size model to prevail is her own confidence and diligence. Somebody encouraged Juicii to keep doing what she's doing because she's appreciated and necessary for an impressionable demographic of women, and I agree. Don't quit, sis, okay? Don't ever let anyone, whether it's people, the industry, or just the way how society behaves, stray you away from work that you've already done and the success that is yet to come. Overall, this conversation was needed because it's not just very thin and petite women who are affected by the BBL era. It's the women who are on the opposite side of the spectrum and are considered plus size that are affected as well. And the modeling world is taking a huge impact from this era of being surgically enhanced in any way because that is the new it girl look. And I don't think plus size women get to express their grievances about body image as much because unfortunately, modern culture has already written them off for years. My solution would be to continue to encourage that intertwining within the world of beauty so that people can recognize themselves in these industries. We can still have categories for sizing or whatever different brands offer consumers, but I think representation does matter. I think Rihanna did a great job of this in her Savage X Fenty fashion shows, especially the 2019 one. I was literally blown away by the whole production. So in a world where we are trying to encourage everyone to just be themselves and look their natural self, the modeling industry should continue to adapt to seeing different types of women in different types of ways. If we continue to show that different sizes of women, including plus size women, are appreciated in fashion and beauty, women who don't have the BBL shape would feel a lot more appreciated, secure, and respected. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If you haven't already, please go follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
Come on. One time for the melanin girls, skin popping in the sun. Let me hear you one time. Baby, let me hear you one time. Yeah, 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 yeah. One time for the African girls, and you know we get it done. Let me hear you one time. Ladies, let me hear you one time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. One shot, two shot, come on, baby, come on. Put your hands to the top, come on, ladies, come on. Skin popping in the sun, come on, baby, come on. Brown girl, you the one, and they know we get on. One shot, two shot, come on, baby, come on. Put your hands to the top, come on, ladies, come on. Skin popping in the sun, come on, baby, come on. Brown girl, you the one, and they know we get on.
She the baddest on the scene, and I really think that she could be the one. So I had her come and say, tell me even on your skin roll. Now I ain't seen that smile, but what's really in your heart? Started that she really talking, and she asking about me. But I really get this, cause I be moving unknown. Certain nights she be calling when I'm feeling alone. Come here, woman.